Innovation is definitely my passion. It's been in my blood since I started my career. And so what we're sharing with you is more of a perspective. MISTA is a global innovation platform, and on this platform, we have a number of corporate players in the food system. We also have a number of early stage companies that are disrupting a number of aspects within that food system. So what I want to share with you is essentially 8 years of learning with lots of gray hair and painful experiences that we've had. But it's also been a great learning journey to help us get to where we are today. So I'm happy to share that with you. So the first thing is maybe just to frame how we define innovation. And for us, it's about creating mindset, culture, and ways of working that can enable a system, and a system can be a company or an ecosystem, to continuously evolve and adapt to the changing conditions and opportunities manifesting in the creation of new futures. So I think we're going to talk a little bit later how many people can agree to that particular definition. But from a MISTA standpoint, that's how we look at it. And when we look at it, what we're talking really about is the highest level need to drive innovation, and that is this mindset and culture in order so that companies can continuously evolve and adapt, because we all know how challenging that is. And if we're going to talk about the need to have this culture of innovation, this culture of change, then we wanted to create a framework to help all of us in this journey on this culture change. So we put together this framework called regenerative innovation. And essentially, it's a continuous loop that the first point there is, of course, you have to have a willingness to explore the unknown. The second point is around experience. So we know from neuroscience that neuroscience really takes new experiences in order to create new neural connections in your brain. And that's what really helps people identify new ideas and concepts or links with other things. The third step there is the reflection. So the reflection point is the ability to take that experience and compare it to what's known. And usually that reflection, what we found is that reflecting in a broader group than just your own organization is very, very powerful. And then the next step here is integration. And when we talk about integration, we talk about integrating across dimensions and time. So by dimensions, what we're talking about, of course, is there is an individual dimension. So you as an individual practitioner who are receiving these experiences, you yourself are building on your capabilities. You're building on what's known. You're building on your wisdom. And you do that through the period of your life. Organizations, on the other hand, they need to do the same thing, but it becomes much harder. So building, integrating within teams, within organizations, and even across systems becomes very, very challenging. And so that's what we're going to talk about, is how do we do a more effective job with this integration? Because without that, we simply can't adapt and evolve to meet the needs of the future. And when we talk about time, we're talking about horizon 1, 2, and 3. Most of you understand what that is. Some experiences you receive are going to be integrated very quickly, immediately into horizon 1. In other cases, you're going to need to hold that understanding, that experience, that reflection. You may need to hold that for a month, a year, or even 10 years. And that's where it becomes very, very challenging for organizations to have that innovation patience. And that leads me to the next slide, which is my hypothesis. And that is that the potential for companies to adapt and evolve through innovation is directly related to the magnitude of these experiences, reflections, and integrations. In other words, if any one of those is a zero, your potential to evolve is going to be near zero. If it's very small, it is also going to be very small. And so what we see, especially when we started MISTA, is that there was a lot of companies that were out there engaging in the ecosystem. They were getting lots of experiences. Maybe they were meeting with other colleagues. Maybe they were meeting with other companies to get those reflections. But the challenge was when they returned to their organization, they struggled to integrate those learnings, those ideas back into the organization. Because guess what? Most large organizations are built to resist a bit of change. They prefer much more steady state. So innovation leadership, for me, is about making sure that we are providing these massive, amazing experiences for people to truly create new neural network connections, to enable reflections beyond what we're doing today, and finally, to insist that we do a better job at integration. And so for me, as an innovation leader, and for me, that's actually the CEO as well, we have to create this culture that allows companies to do this more effectively. And why is that? And this is what we call the arc of evolution, because of course, in most cases, there's not a single light bulb and voila, you have this amazing new thing. Innovation is very hard work. It takes a long time. Many times you're waiting for a new technology or a new product to fit into the puzzle that really unlocks it. And again, you have to hold that space over a period of time in order to make this come to fruition. And so we call it compounding innovation. And so if it's built over time with each of these iterative loops, building the foundation, then we become much more effective, because the bigger the base of the foundation, the more we have, the more wisdom, the more knowledge, I believe the higher yield we can deliver. And so my last slide is that for me, innovation leadership is first and foremost all about culture and mindset. This has to be supported and led by the CEO. I would suggest that if it is not, you should probably, if you're thinking about going to work for an organization and the CEO is not 110% committed, it will lead to massive frustration, I think, as many of us have experienced. The second is that we have to have frameworks and tools for our innovators to be able to leverage and use and have that common language. That common language is so important when you're talking about experiences and reflections and how to do that. And within that, neuroscience of change and innovation is so important. So I've had the opportunity to just study a bit more around neuroscience. And for me, it is so important in the field of innovation. I encourage all of you to dig into that a bit more. And then lastly, we have to have processes, of course, but they have to support the above two. If we have processes and the above two are simply overlooked, again, it will lead to mass frustration. Thank you very much.